Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine. We review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies, and sometimes sci-fi and superheroes. Tonight, we're going with we're going with sci-fi. I almost messed that up. You know, there's a story there. No, we are going to review Ahsoka, Episode 8. The finale is finally here.
Super Luke to the rescue.
All right. Let me introduce you to the rest of my crew before we get into things. Starting off with the Slattman, Chris Slattery. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Doc. It sounds like you need some coffee, though.
It's all gone. It's wearing off already. Now that's weird. But anyway, also joining us is podcasting rock star and international cosplay queen, Vanessa, also known as Dr. Hu Yang. Hi.
Please do that cosplay mashup. You know I love my cosplay mashups.
Yeah, it's in the name. Hu Yang.
That's
and it's in the actor.
Do that.
And it's in the
Oh
actor.
my God, it is. Holy.
Hu Yang.
Drop the mic. Wow, I didn't even catch that at first. All right. Also, it's obvious now that you said it, but it didn't come to me until you said it. All right. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Moore. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. You know what can help you pep up your life, Doc? Infuse yourself with the magics, if you know what I mean.
The
magic with a K. Not sure if you watched it with subtitles. Magic with a K.
With the greens.
It'll make your eyes turn green, and you have a little bit of pep in your step.
Forever.
You might growl a little bit, but
absolutely. Let's see that shirt you got on there.
Oh yeah, it's Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy?
Yeah.
All right.
Because Anakin's daddy. What?
What? All right. We are here to review Ahsoka Episode 8, the finale. It's finally here, and it's everything we expected it to be, I imagine, and maybe more. We're going to give you our first impression. That first impression will be spoiler-free, and then we're going to get into a discussion about the film, and there are spoilers abound. And all kinds of craziness. We'll get into all that, and then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. Somebody's already claimed 3 of them, so we'll get on there.
There's one scene. I'm not changing my scene. I don't care what you guys say. I'm not changing my scene for anybody.
I've got 2 scenes, and I don't think any of you are going to pick my scenes.
Oh, wow.
I've got my favorite scene.
Fair enough.
Back up,
all right.
And guess what? Doc's making me go first.
I am. But before that, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. We have reviewed the entire season, so go back and check those out. If you do like them, please hit the like, subscribe, and share with a friend buttons. Each click will help us find more fans just like you, and it's easy and free to do. Right, Dr. Hu Yang?
I believe you should be going affirmative.
Just go with it. Just go with it.
Logical.
Whatever. All right, let's look at the card. All right. Ahsoka Season 1 started streaming August 22nd, 2023. This is Episode 8. The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. Streamed October 3rd, 2023. The heroes race to prevent Grand Admiral Thrawn's escape. Slattman, that's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Props to these synopsis writers, because they've been on point all season.
Yep, and kept them short and sweet. All right, it's directed by Rick Famuyiwa. It's Christopher. Help me out. How do you say his last name?
Who just
Famuyiwa.
Famuyiwa, I think.
All right, I'm not the only one. Thank you. Dave Filoni is the writer based on Star Wars by George Lucas. The cast includes Rosario, Dawson, Natasha, Bordizzo. That's probably not right. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ray Stevenson, Ivanna, Sakhno, Diana Lee, Inosanto, David Tennant, Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, Hayden Christensen, Genevieve O'Reilly, at least in flashbacks. Lars Mikkelsen, Eman, Esfandi, and not Anthony Daniels. He was on the last episode, but we'll give him some props anyway. All right, and there's the blue guy himself there. Woo-hoo, those eyes. All right, let's get into it. Where am I going? I don't know. Slatman gave me coffee, and now everything.
All that magic's.
Yeah, everything's
Coffee magic.
It's all the
All
magic.
right.
Magic with a K.
Don't get me started. Slatman, sir, what was your first impression of episode 8?
I thought the ride was fantastic. And I think ride is appropriate for this episode. I don't know. This is just like last week and the week before and the week before that and the week before that. There's a lot I want to say, but I can't get into a whole lot of specifics because of spoilers. But I don't know. This episode had excellent action, excellent set pieces, excellent music, excellent effects. Holy crap, the effects look better than anything else I think they've made for Disney Plus so far. I have one issue, and that's, dang it, Filoni, why'd you have to leave us on a literal cliffhanger?
Yeah, literally oh my gosh.
I'm so upset that I'm going to have to wait probably until 2025 to get more of this because I want it now.
Mm-hmm.
I have to wait. And then, when it comes back, it will be sad. We'll talk about that here in a little bit as well. All right, Dr. Young, you're up next. I just love saying that. What is your first impression of the finale of Ahsoka?
You know, I didn't think we were going to be able to top episode 5, but this really just is like, this might be the best episode of the season. It is so incredibly good. It has moments that are so meaningful and poignant. And it has moments that in a second rewatch, I didn't even realize. Like, to me, I kind of glazed over it because it was information that I already knew. But the fact that the information was revealed in the way that it was, and we'll get to it when I can actually get into spoilers, was just incredible. Like, the acting, the commitment to the characters, the portrayal, the way that Filoni wrote this last episode to kind of tie things up, but also have so many story points open is just fantastic. And we got to the end of the episode the first time we watched it, and the credits came on, and it said Rick Famuyiwa, and I was like, I freaking knew it. I knew it. That guy has such a vision, such a talent for just understanding these Star Wars stories and incorporating all these, like, Asian film themes and Western film themes and all these things that make it so incredible and so perfect while still tying into the or still feeling like Rebels, still feeling like those characters was so incredible. And like Slattman said, the music was out of control this episode. It was so good. And I'm sure Chris is going to talk about this too, because there are moments where you hear the music, you see what's happening on the screen, and you're like, I can't even believe this is happening right now. I can't believe I'm hearing this. I can't believe I'm seeing this. Like, and it's just so perfect. It's so seamless. And it's interesting that you hear it so well, as it's playing in those moments. It's so visible, or audible, I should say, when it needs to be. But yeah, overall, like, incredible episode.
Shadows in the light. All right. Christopher G. Moore, sir, what was your first impression of Ahsoka episode 8, the finale?
Yeah, Chronicles of Thrawnia.
Chronicles of Thrawnia.
Which, if you see the title of the episode, it's the homage to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I absolutely love this episode. There's moments that made me jump and cheer. There's a moment that made me cry. The needle drops of music, either from the original Star Wars, or there's one drop that's from classical music, which adds that level of coolness to it. It has a moment that I have been waiting to see ever since I read a couple of non-canon books.
No, they were canon back in the day.
But they're not canon anymore. I'm just saying. But how Filoni has incorporated that to sort of, I guess it can be fan servicey, but for me, we finally got a little bit of horror in I mean, there's been horror in and out through Star Wars, but we got a certain horror element that made me squee with glee. I was shouting to my TV, "Let's go!" Because I mean, oh my goodness, and the fights in this,
Mhm.
the lightsaber fights. I mean, and how this last episode completes an arc for Sabine. You know,
It
completes
does.
an arc for Ahsoka, completes an arc for Ezra, and starts an arc for Thrawn, I guess. But there are so many moments that were just the fun of what I love in Star Wars. There's even you know, throughout this whole series, there's been a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff. There's literally a line where they stole from Lord of the Rings in this episode. There's literally a cliff that's very that is a callback to Lord of the Rings. And you could sort of, and there's magic, you know, there's and just and how Filoni has incorporated. I mean, he's always incorporated that through Clone Wars and other things, but there's so many different things. How he pulls from historical stuff, how he pulls from, you know, Macbeth and the witches, how he pulls from like history, it pulls from Greek mythology there, and I just love how he incorporates this and creates his own story. You know, he's almost like the Tarantino of the Star Wars universe, how he incorporates all this. You know, I guess Lucas was doing that a little bit beforehand, but I just, this is my favorite episode of this series, and has moments that are up there with some of my favorite moments in Star Wars. Just how it made me feel. It made me feel like a little kid watching Star Wars again. So, and it just, yeah, sure, we're left on a cliffhanger, but it makes me excited for what happens in Star Wars. And I guess we'll get into spoilers. I think the biggest redemption of this series we'll talk about in non-spoilers, or in spoilers, I guess.
I guess Morgan got her arc too.
Well, she got an
arc.
She got a couple of arcs, if you know what I mean.
All right, so I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Episode 5 is still my favorite. I'm not as giddy about it as the three of you are, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it.
If you'd seen Clone Wars or Rebels.
But I did, but there's a lot I really liked about it. I mean, I don't know how to get into what is keeping me from being 100% giddy about it. There's just an element of this that just was blocking me for some reason, and I want to watch it again, Dr. Huyang. That's where I was desperately wanting to do that before we recorded again, but I just didn't have the time because I feel like maybe my expectations were too high going into it, and I feel like that's what the block is. And I think going into it knowing what to expect, I'm going to enjoy it 100%, because it literally goes into one aspect that Christopher was talking about that I too was ready to watch, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. It felt a little bit to me kind of like Princess Bride trying to go up and try to get to the guy with the 6 fingers, but you know, whatever. You know, it has that, you know, going up the stairs and fighting things as you go along element to it. I probably one of the things is that for me, I didn't get enough of Baylan Skoll, and I've come to like those 2 characters as much as I like all the rest of them. And we do get them at the very end, but I really miss them throughout. I really, really did. And that's part of what it has kind of, I don't know. And if I know going in, watching it a second time, that that's not what I'm really there for, then I think I'm going to enjoy the parts that are there much, much more, because like you said, the whole aspect of it, the urgency of it, and the meaning behind it, and then some of the some of the spoilery things that happen after that are wonderful and make me, like you said, can't wait for season 2, and the fact that we are going to have to wait a long time for season 2. But maybe Mandalorian 4 is going to kind of step in, give us a little in between. No, probably not. Slattman is shaking his head. I'm going to dream. But anyway, let's get into some spoilers because there's a lot to talk about. Slattman, you start us off because you said there was tons of things you wanted to say, but you couldn't.
I don't know where to start.
Well, you want to
do we want to start chronologically in the episode? Because
Sure.
there's, I guess the first thing to talk about is, I guess let's start with Morgan. I guess.
The return of the green flames, finally.
Her transformation.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't have much to say about this. I think it was a good arc for the character. I kind of saw it coming from a mile away, though.
What's that sword, though? That sword we've seen before, right?
It's a sword that one of the Night Sisters used against Samuel L. Jackson's Jedi character.
Yeah, it's it's like the eldest Night Mother. It was her sword. It was named after her.
Because that's why they call it the sword of that. It's because it's named after her. She might be infused into it.
But she died.
Slattman, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted
you're good. You're good. I don't know. I don't have as much to say about this, but I think it's a good place to start. Because I thought it was a good I don't know. I thought it was a good arc for this character. Like I said, I kind of saw it coming from a mile away that she was just kind of fodder for Thrawn to use to get off the planet. Same with Baylan Skoll and same with Shin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't really care about them at all whatsoever. He just wanted their giant hyperspace ring, and that's it.
Yep. For the Empire.
Yeah. That fight was really cool, though.
Yeah, the with Ahsoka.
Yeah,
it was pretty amazing.
Sword, yeah,
I kind of saw that she, even though she was going to do it, and she did do it, you could see kind of the reservation in her eyes, though. Like, oh man.
Well, one of the cool things too in the Clone Wars is when I can't remember the name of the sword now. When she pulls it out, originally it makes that same sound. Like when they are bringing it out of the whatever nether ether world they're bringing it out of, and it appears
magic.
Magic. In the Clone Wars, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same way. It makes the same sound. I thought that was really cool to keep that cohesive like that. It's the tiny details they pay attention to.
What details? Continuity in our Star Wars properties? Madness.
And, well, speaking of madness, there's a certain aspect that I know that Christopher G. Moore is dying to get into. So I think this is the time. We'll get to the rest of it, but we got to talk about the jumping up on the couch moment, screaming hell yeah. Christopher, elaborate, please.
There's a little book called Death Troopers. They I forgot the name of the second book, but and it was a hard book that came out. It's not really considered it's not canon now, even though it does have OG characters that pop up in it. But it's basically a prison ship goes to they go to a Star Destroyer and the Star Destroyer is empty. Everybody's gone, and you find out that the Emperor has actually been testing this flower that can turn people into zombies, and so he thinks he can use that against his enemies. So you get like a whole zombie horde of like stormtroopers and stuff on a Star Destroyer, and so that's something that I was hoping that one day somebody like me or somebody would be able to direct a Star Wars horror film involving zombie stormtroopers. So I think that's the one thing people kept thinking: are these stormtroopers on Thrawn's ship? Are they magic infused? Or are they the undead? And when they got killed, like some of them got killed in the last episode, people were like, oh, they're not really reanimated or whatever. But that moment where they kills all of them, and then Thrawn's like, here's why I need you Night Sisters, use your magic or whatever. And they do that. And they come alive, and they use the music Dance Macabre, which is that famous classical music that's known for raising the dead. That you hear that. I got chills when I heard that music. I was like, oh my goodness gracious. And then they're even like groaning and stuff. And then later on, you got those two like mega, I forgot the name of the type of trooper, those two mega troopers where she's shooting the mask and you see his face, and it is a reanimated flesh trooper. I was so freaking happy because I've been waiting to see this.
It was snarling too.
I was like, it was so badass. And I was like, man, this is something I've been missing from Star Wars, you know. So to see that, see some like major zombie animated reanimated stormtroopers was a lifelong dream for me ever since reading those books, because I wanted to see that. And so that just made me extremely happy. So Filoni made me very happy by incorporating that into the story.
Well, Christopher, I think you're going to be very happy because at the very end, we see a bunch of coffins going towards Dathomir. And I have a feeling you might see more reanimated corpses in the future.
Well, I was going to say speculation.
Those are probably the Night Sisters.
I'm thinking it might be the bodies of the Night Sisters that they're taking back to Dathomir.
That's the deal, right? That's the deal he made with the mothers when he awoke them. It's like, all right, we'll get you back to Dathomir. Dathomir, you'll raise your army.
Although they did have one person, I think, because I was watching a lot of people like what they thought was going to think, and they're like, for a second there, I was like, are they going to reanimate Darth Maul and have him show up? Because you know he had that fight with Ahsoka back in the day. So
where was that? Where was that fight? What
on Mandalore?
We
reviewed that episode, Doc.
Yeah,
I'm sure we did.
So I was like, if there was ever a moment you could bring Darth Maul back, but I was like, I don't know. I think that's a little too on the nose because we've already sort of brought him back.
He had a great death
times.
twice. Like,
let him rest in peace.
Yeah,
we don't need a somehow Darth Maul returned.
But I will say the fight between her and Morgan, who I don't know if you guys know, but the woman who plays Morgan is actually a stunt performer. She's actually the goddaughter of Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she did a lot of her own stunt work because she's a stunt performer.
You can tell too in the shot. Fights, you can tell it's them doing that stuff.
But and also let me just point out the part where she's fighting and then Morgan's like, you're gonna die on this planet alone. And Sabine's like, not alone. That's a line from, I think, The Two Towers where
really? Okay.
Yeah, where what's his name says we're alone, and then what's his name shows up and says not alone. So also
there's a lot of what's his name.
The gates of Gondor, that ending was very much like, even though those are supposed to be, I guess, the gods of
Mortis gods. Oh my god, I can't believe now we can talk about this. Oh my god. Okay.
Before we go into Mortis gods, we got to go back all the way back to when Ezra was building his lightsaber.
Oh yeah, okay.
That made me cry when Hu Yang was told who his master was, that it was Kanan Jarrus, and that he trained Kanan, and he knew exactly the emitter that Ezra needed. I watched it again. I cried every time because it's so powerful. And I think that's what you're missing is the connection to these characters, knowing that Kanan Jarrus gave his life. That's a fixed moment in time. And that was Ezra's master, and Hu Yang taught him how to build a lightsaber, and is now building a lightsaber with Ezra with the same piece that his master used. Like,
and called him Caleb, went by the name Caleb, which if you remember the crap, I can't remember the
Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch. I keep wanting to call him the Wrecking Crew, which because a wrecker.
That makes sense. Though.
Bad Batch. Well, there was that one episode where they let the kid go who was Caleb, but it's funny how he kind of like remembers them as the even though he's like thousands of years old, he remembers them as being the younglings back in the day. Although I was wondering, where did he I thought it's very hard to sort of find the
Kyber crystal.
The Kyber crystal that pairs with you. So I was kind of wondering where he got that from, or how he got that so easily.
There have been some speculations on it. The best answer that we've come up is there's a crap ton of lightsabers in there. Ezra probably just borrowed one just to use and didn't really go soul searching for one. Ezra has never done the soul searching for a kyber crystal. He's always just been given one by another Jedi.
Yeah, some people thought that he might not get a lightsaber until he got on Thrawn's ship, because they think that Thrawn has
Thrawn should have Kanan's,
because they got it and we're gonna give it to him, but you never really see him get it. But he might have it on that ship.
Yeah,
because Sabine has
Ezra's
old one, right? Because he said keep it, right? I do like that they all had different colors. Now, can we talk about what happened to one of Ahsoka's?
Oh, it just got cut in half. No big deal. They'll fix it.
Okay. Well, they have the right guy there to do it, right?
Yeah, it'll get fixed, or she'll get a new hilt so Disney can sell it at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, because she's got that whole Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
The important thing is that her kyber crystal. It didn't seem like her kyber crystal got damaged. So.
But did she pick it up? Did she get it? Of course she did, behind the scenes. But I was like, oh my gosh! But how she ended the battle with Morgan was pretty slick.
And that cut her with both her blade and her own lightsaber. So because you see,
yeah. So what happened to the sword after that? Do they have it? It
either magic poofed away, or she just took it with her. There's not really another way to describe Night Sister magic at some point, because sometimes it literally does just poof away,
or just went down because they destroyed that whole.
That's true. It could be just buried under
a castle.
Bunch of rubble. I guess those guys are still alive under there too.
Man, right? Did you see that Night Sister give him the evil eye? When he's like, destroy.
No, they weren't happy about that.
It's like, I feel like they're gonna backstab him at some point.
Well, yeah, they're getting what they want too.
Yeah, they just want to get what they want, and then he's no longer
patient. They're patient. They've been around for years. They can wait a few months.
Oh, no, we were talking about Ahsoka. I was gonna jump ahead to Sabine and her moment of using the Force. The first time we actually see her using the Force, where she's fighting that zombie trooper guy, and she reaches for that lightsaber. There's another moment that made me very emotional too.
She also does it with the door too.
There's an assumption that it's with the door, right? Because it's all three of them.
But she had to use a lot of power to help Force push him.
Yeah, that was afterwards.
Yeah, but I mean that took even more.
Yeah.
To do.
So, but she had finally listened to Ahsoka and tapped into and trusted the Force.
Well, and I think
them together.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think she found that because I think she didn't start really using the lightsaber properly or well until Ezra was in was in the clutches of one of the undead stormtroopers, and then that's when she started doing her thing. But it was kind of cool because she was blocking stuff with the armor, and doing this multiple ways of taking out some of it, because she was kicking a lot of the stormtroopers ass. Well,
oh my god, that initial fight when they break in is so badass. And yeah, when she's like Sabine blasters, and she goes to the blasters, starts shooting, and then Ahsoka does her classic Ahsoka pose.
I cheered for that too. I was like, let's go,
amazing.
Ahsoka.
All right. Well, let's quickly circle back around to the gods of Slattman. Mortis gods. Tell us more, sir. Tell us more. Mortis.
It's a rabbit hole. It is a rabbit.
We'll keep it on the surface for now.
So there is the statue that you saw that Balin was literally on the cliffhanger for. That is the father. And then to his to the right, Balin's left, it looks like that's supposed to be the son. And then to the right, or to the left, Balin's right, is supposed to be the daughter.
But the head is
is
knocked off,
destroyed.
and
There
it's
is
split between them.
yeah. There's a story that in which Anakin was his chosen one path of like the prophecy and stuff. He was supposed to replace the father and keep the daughter and the son at bay. These are all gods, by the way, force gods, force beings, force creatures. The daughter represents the light. The son represents the dark side. The father represents neutral ground. Supposed to keep it at bay. The father sacrificed himself to save Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka. And I'm trying my best to keep this all at very, very, very high level for and the daughter actually sacrificed herself specifically to save Ahsoka. And she is actually represented by the little bird owl thing that we saw at the end of the episode as well.
I was going to ask
So
about
that's the daughter's spirit following Ahsoka around.
because we've seen that owl a couple times, right? I mean, not in the series, but in animated.
In every series, yes.
It was in Mandalorian too. It was
Was it?
on one of the tree
Was it?
branches.
Mhm.
Yeah, when he met.
Oh, that's
Ahsoka.
right. I forgot about that. Yes.
Where
Force there.
where this gets really interesting is Abeloth.
That's what people thought was going to show up at the end of this episode.
The Abeloth is supposed to be the mother in the Mortis gods,
and it's very horror oriented.
Well,
Yeah,
you saw he was looking out, and there was a light coming out of this mountain, right?
out of the
You also
mountain. It
see that?
was going
So
on and
maybe
off. Yeah.
you're not wrong. You know, like
Because he's pointing at it, right?
she may not have been there, and if this is like a matriarchal society, right? Maybe she would be somewhere else, honored somewhere else. So maybe you're not totally wrong.
Yeah, but it's so interesting though because we've got the daughter who's dead, right? The daughter is being with Ahsoka.
She is Ahsoka.
Yeah, you've got the son who representation of the Sith is what most people go with. You've got the father who was supposed to be Anakin. Don't really know where that's going to go, but he's supposed to be. But the father's supposed to be more like a light, like a neutral ground, like a very lawful neutral, I think is a good way to put it. But Abeloth is pure chaos. Not evil, not good, not Sith, not Jedi, not light, not dark, pure chaos.
So
a complete opposite of the father's neutrality.
So is that where we're going to go with this?
Filoni is either just Filoni has done this so many times where he has hinted at things and then it's never come to fruition. But the Mortis God arc is his baby. He has referenced it in Clone Wars. He has referenced it in Rebels. He has referenced it here now. He has referenced it in so many other places. If this does not lead to something along the lines of Abeloth, like, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, I don't know what they're going to try. I don't know what their end goal is with that because the father is dead. The only other thing I can think of is that Baylan Skoll is trying to find the son and he's going to become, and he's going to kill and he's going to become the epitome of the dark side of the Force. That's the only other thing I could think of.
I don't know. He doesn't care that much about that, though. Like, I don't think he cares enough about that. He was talking about resetting it and restarting it.
He wants to destroy all of it.
Yeah, so he wants chaos. He wants
using
chaos.
them, maybe the chaos, right? I think you're onto something there. I think it also will have to do with the world between worlds too, because they were in that whole realm.
Here's my tinfoil hat.
Tinfoil hat.
I think Abeloth is going to be the actual big bad of the Filoni movie, not Thrawn. And Thrawn and our heroes or cat. What the hell? Thrawn and our she's like trying to like destroy my AT-AT. I think that Thrawn and our rebels friend as Ahsoka crew are going to have to work together to take down this cosmic being of chaos, and maybe hopefully we'll get a recast of Leia, Luke, and Han for those, because they're kind of important to arcs like that in the other.
Give us an opportunity for that, yeah.
There was somebody on TikTok had that idea, but I don't know. That seems kind of stretching.
Well, I mean, it would be a very Thrawn thing to do, is have, to use them to defeat the enemy. The enemy of my enemy of my friends, or whatever.
Yeah, some people had thought they thought that Abeloth was going to show up at the end of this episode, and that was going to be a way for them to kill off Balin. Because if he found him, and then of course Ahsoka then would have to deal with her later. But yeah, I don't know. It could be very interesting. I mean, for me, it'll just be interesting how they portray Abeloth, because if you see pictures and stuff of visuals
also,
of that, yeah,
Cthulhu tentacle monster is another one I've seen. Well, Cheshire Cat is.
I've seen the Cheshire Cat. Let's talk about one last thing before we wrap it up. Anakin appears as Anakin Force Ghost.
Oh my god.
Okay. Oh my god. Elaborate.
No. I think when we talk about arcs and stuff, and how, and I talked about earlier, it's like the redemption they've done for, my brain is having a fart. The actor who played Anakin, Hayden's Christensen, the redemption, because he got so much flack, like a lot of those people that got flack in the prequels and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this Ahsoka series, I mean, we've gotten a little bit of that redemption and other stuff as well, like Obi-Wan and stuff. But I think in this, it feels like perfection. How we have that symmetry with other films, like the original trilogy. We have we see the Force Ghost of him at the end, and I think because we have this completion, because the fear of Ahsoka was that Sabine was going to turn into Anakin, and there's also the fear that I guess Ahsoka could turn that way because she had fear, and Yoda said, what happens to fear? Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. And so
Thrawn even plants that seed.
We also got a call back to Yoda when Sabine is talking about have you been training? It's like, I'm trying. No, I'm doing. Because there's a try. Do not try,
There's no try.
So I think, man, I'm getting emotional to think about it. I mean, just that was just beautiful. Because I was even thinking, what is she looking at? And then when you see that Force Ghost of Anakin, and man, that's just so.
And they kind of implied that
it really made my Star Wars heart happy. What now?
I was going to say they kind of implied that Sabine got a glimpse of him.
I think she did. She has that Force sensitivity to it, but she could see there's something there. But Ahsoka, and for him to finally say, okay, finally. You've completed your arc as a Jedi, as a master to Sabine. You figured out, because also we get that arc. Huyang's been saying you fight better together than apart, and we finally get that connection with them fighting at the very end. Yep. So for me, this series is tapped into the Star Wars that I love, the elements that I love, and Filoni. He's that fanboy who gets it. It's because you can be a fanboy and still make shitty movies or do shitty things, which we've seen for some of them. Although I'm a Last Jedi fan, but other ones not so much. So with this, story wise, it works. It's less about fan service and it's more about the story arc, and it's just a beautiful moment to where it almost for those people who hated on him incorporating the young Anakin into the end of, Return of the Jedi, that just makes it even more beautiful seeing his Force Ghost there. So I don't know. And at the same time, I'm maybe it's just me, but I kind of want us to have Hayden Christensen let's do some other series maybe. with him.
Get him back in there.
Even though it'd be a lot of CGI to sort of make it happen.
It was working. Final thoughts, Dr. Hugh Yang. You want to talk about the owl and Anakin? Anything you want to add?
Final thoughts are so 2 final thoughts. Chopper knowing immediately that it was Ezra.
Oh yes. Oh, but we didn't.
That made me cry too. That reunion.
Yeah.
The reunion.
It's almost like you could hear him say, "Ezra, is that you?" And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. To me, that reunion was better than the other 2 reunions because there was emotion there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was emotion.
Yeah.
And I felt that, and I got teary-eyed watching that.
Yeah, seeing Chopper go up to him and just know right away. Oh my God, so good. Also, did he get a haircut or did his helmet just smash his hair down?
His helmet smashed.
I think it's probably a little bit of both.
No, the helmet smashed it completely.
He got a haircut in episode 7, so
yeah, it's all right. The other one was Thrawn having the conversation with Ahsoka over the radio, saying it's a shame that we'll never meet, but then saying, I knew your master. And then just the little things that he said to tell her, I know who your master became. I know what your master was and what you're capable of becoming because he was your master. Like that's the thing on the second watching that I picked up and was like, oh my God. Because I already knew that he knew. I already knew that he had figured that out. He put it all together in his mind because he's a genius. But on the second rewatching, I realized like that was brand new information to a lot of watchers, and and to Ahsoka herself, right? Because Ahsoka didn't know that either. That he knew all that information. 1, that he knew who her master was, that it was Anakin, but 2, that he knew that he became Darth Vader. Like that was an explosive moment for me, especially right there at the end.
Yes,
yeah,
nice.
And long live the Empire.
Yes. All right, let's get into wrapping this up and give our score and favorite scene. Slattman, we'll start with you. Go for it.
This episode, this series knocked it out of the park. It is the best series that they've made for Star Wars on Disney Plus, and it might be the best series they've made on Disney Plus. I don't know. Loki season 1's pretty damn good though. I don't know if it's there's so much love put into it, and it's special, I think is the best way to put it. They've nailed everything about it. Casting, story, music, set pieces, CGI. The CGI looks better than, I think I said it earlier, the CGI looks better on this than anything else I think they've made directly for Disney Plus. And that's including the de-aged Luke that looked amazing in Mando season 2.5.
Yes. Awesome.
So yeah, this is something special. They knocked it out of the park. It's a shame that we won't get Ray Stevenson for season 2.
That makes me sad. Makes me sad.
I don't know. They nailed casting so well. I think they'll be able to find a good someone who can fill the shoes well.
It's gonna be tough.
It will be, but I think they'll be able to do it. Or they'll write it to where they don't really need a whole lot of Balin Skull for season 2,
unless they just find his body.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Unless they
might do that.
Unless they write it to where they don't need a whole lot of that character. So
it's just what could have happened. Oh my gosh, it's gonna make me sad thinking about it.
My score's a 5. My score for the series is a 5.
Nice.
As a whole, I absolutely loved it. This is everything I wanted with Rebels season 5. And yeah, so my favorite scene, I have one that I feel very strongly about, and then I have a second one that I had in my back pocket. And I don't remember what that second one was
Nice.
because we've talked about so much. But my favorite scene is that scene that Vanessa, you were talking about, where Thrawn talks to Ahsoka.
Oh yeah, calls her this is where a Ronin like you belongs.
Ronan, yeah.
That conversation, chef's kiss. Like it was so perfect. So such a perfect Thrawn representation of Thrawn.
The delivery.
He's so controlled,
right?
Although there's that one moment where he got mad because he brought through the defenses and he's like pursing his lips, and you can see,
I can see there's a little bit of grumpy face going on there for a hot second.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Huyang. I'm just gonna say that as loud as I can. What is your score and favorite thing?
Oh, same. 5 out of 5 out of 5. All the 5s, 100%. All of it. It was amazing. The series was amazing. And I kind of agree. Like, I really enjoyed Andor by the end of it. But this was just, there were so many moments that were so emotional. And it's because I was so tied to the characters through the Clone Wars and through Rebels, you know? Filoni had made such an influence on me with those characters and this universe, or this story in the Star Wars universe, that seeing them in live action and seeing it just perfectly executed. I mean, we've kind of said that, but the execution has been absolutely perfect through this entire season. And it just goes to show how important it is to have a cohesive story from the onset and people who are like-minded in telling that story. And the fact that they brought Rick Famuyiwa in to close this out, that was an additional perfection to me. I have two moments. Huyang saying, "May the Force be with you," definitely was an emotional moment for me. Hearing him say that as they were riding off was a very emotional moment for me. I stan Ezra so much, so much. But my favorite scene is that moment where Huyang and Ezra are building his lightsaber, and he tells that story about Kanan, and he just immediately knew to pull out that piece. I'm gonna get emotional. I'm a Chris Moore right now. I'm gonna get emotional thinking about it, because it was just so. Kanan was just he was an incredible character. He was an incredible Jedi. It was just a great story, and then to have that come back was just so beautiful. It was almost as good as getting a flashback, if not maybe better.
Nice. I like that. All right, here comes the moment. Christopher G. Moore, score, favorite team.
It gets 5,000 reanimated stormtroopers out of 5,000 reanimated stormtroopers. This is a great ending to the season.
100%.
Well, from what I understand, there's all the carcasses that the Night Sisters have. Supposedly, somebody on New Rockstar said it was around 5,000 bodies. So whatever they're doing is going to be pretty big. Yeah, I have to repeat what Chris was saying. The special effects on this series are like next level. You know, although we'll say, just when I thought they couldn't make it even more phallic, seeing the back of that ship, it was like, whoa! And they need to put a warning on that.
Oh my gosh!
And by the way, you can't spell heart without hair. Anyway, I love this series. I think I am kind of sad about Baylan, because I think he's one of the coolest new characters. But it will be kind of interesting to see what happens next. As for favorite scene, the reanimated corpses. Come on, that is. I've never been so happy to see something in Star Wars.
Chris, when that one was getting up off his knees and they do the close up on his face and his eyes are green, I'm like, that's a horror shot. That's a Sam Raimi shot right there.
It is. And even when they're walking, they're kind of shuffling and stuff.
Yeah.
But then later when I'll lump the other reanimated thing as well. But when the other two mega stormtroopers and knocks that helmet and it's like something out of The Walking Dead, I was like, oh my god, I am in heaven. Why can't we have more of this in Star Wars? Somebody make some horror Star Wars stuff.
Hey.
But yeah, and I think, and again, the perfection of adding the dance macabre stuff when they start being reanimated. The music composer is so amazing, because actually, if the very ending, what made the ending so emotional is that beautiful music. He incorporates Across the Stars, a little bit Across the Stars in that music. And I think those little elements where he'll take pieces of even the Force theme when they're jumping across, they use a little bit of that. So there's those moments where the music that incorporates from either Star Wars or other elements, and it just makes it even better. But yeah, this series is even better than what I've expected, because I think there's always a worry when you're translating something from, especially a lot of the story elements or characters from the animated stuff. But I think, and even for me, I wasn't a big fan of Ezra when he first showed up, but I think he's great. And we get to see him impersonating somebody, which is always the big bit with Rebels.
Jabba the Hutt.
Which people, yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
anyway,
right. That's right.
Anyway, the animated stuff.
Right?
I was so freaking. You don't know how happy I am. I mean, granted, it's not Death Troopers. They even named
close.
But it's as close as, and I'll take it if this is as close as we get. Although I hope we get to see more stuff, but I'm a very happy camper, very happy Star Wars fan.
Yeah. So I was prepared to give this a 4.75, but the discussion has made me think it deserves a 5. I feel like I need, you make me, I know I want to rewatch it. Now I really want to rewatch it, because matter of fact, I think I want to rewatch the entire 8 episodes, because I still think episode 5 holds a little something special for me, for whatever reason it is. It's just there's a turning point in our characters. There's a callbacks and all kinds of great stuff. But this was the action ending that we were looking for. There's got some prizes that we were wanting to see, character moments, character arcs. I'll concede 5. And my favorite scene, you guys have mentioned a lot of my favorite scenes, but I'm going to go with got him. So there's a moment when they're being attacked by the 2 TIE fighters, and they're caught unawares, if you will, and the Ahsoka ship is getting ready to land on all the little Ninja Turtles, and we got both of them under there holding it up, right, like doing the old stick, and then Sabine punches it and gets them, but crashes the ship in the process.
Punch it, Chewie.
But it was so hilarious when she comes up, walks past him, got him. It was like, and Ahsoka's like, now what do we do?
That was so great. I kind of wonder, your comment about liking episode 5 more, I wonder if that is a generational thing. People who came up with the original trilogy and then seeing Anakin and Vader in those moments, and then Anakin
I think the Vader part has a lot to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas maybe Chris, like Slattery and I are obviously we love the original trilogy, but our affection for Rebels and Clone Wars, is leaning more into like an episode like this.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just I think it's Ahsoka reawakening and everything. It's a pivotal moment for the series.
Well, but we see because we see her, the young Ahsoka, in live action. I think
that too
powerful. Yes.
That to me, that's a powerful, and I don't think that has anything to do with the older ones.
And the various versions.
Also, a lot of the people who grew up watching Clone Wars also probably grew up watching the prequels over the original trilogy, so they're more in tune with Hayden than they are with.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. I will say that you guys mentioned it earlier that feeling like Star Wars, that Mandalorian remains my favorite Disney Plus Star Wars show, even above this. But this has gone, of all the stuff we've gotten since Disney has kind of grabbed a hold of this these 8 episodes are the most Star Wars I think I've felt.
Yeah.
It starred that war really well.
It just really feels like watching the same feeling I had when I watched the first episode, the first 4, 5, and 6, right? The theaters back in the day. It still has that feeling, and it's reawakened that. So even though a lot of that has popped up a couple times here and there, this one has been the most consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, they've definitely nailed it. I mean, I always liked Star Wars, but these shows have just ignited a fire, I feel like. Not just me, but a lot of fans and viewers.
I mean, Chewie, We're Home may still be my best moment since it is of the Disney era, but we'll get back around to something eventually, I'm sure. All right, well, we are going longer than the episode itself. So there you go. That's our review of Ahsoka, episode 8, the finale. Now all we have is to speculate for the next few years about where it's going to go next.
God, that's going to be the worst part.
Oh,
I know.
Because I mean, even Mandalorian is pushed back because of all the strikes and stuff. So everything is.
You know what's not pushed back? The books. Everyone, if you want your Star Wars fix, go read the novels, go read the comics. They're fantastic.
Well, we are getting Skeleton Crew this fall, right? Or this Christmas, right?
I think so.
Perhaps.
I thought it was early 2024 now, but I could be wrong.
It might be pushed back to
You might be right.
By the way, there's a new comic that just came out that I think the name of it is Shadows of the Light or whatever. So it's kind of interesting. We get like a reference that's actually the name of one of the comics that just came out.
All right. Well, there you go. Christopher, Slattman, Dr. Huyang, Vanessa, thank you for joining me. This was, as always, a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm a very happy Star Wars fan. I'm glad we could all talk and celebrate the coolness of Ahsoka.
Star Wars is just great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know it. All right.
Rest in peace, Star Cruiser.
Oh, man. With that, let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
May the Force be with you.
Gruesome Magazine.